This is Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts, Christian Nossum and Dan Keller, mortgage expert with New American Funding. For the next hour, you'll learn impactful insider information as Christian and Dan teach about the ins and outs of Seattle's real estate market. Now, here's Christian and Dan.
Hello. Good afternoon and happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
How's your Monday going?
Amazing. Do you know why?
Holiday week.
No. Even better.
What? Oh!
Shannon's birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah, I don't think you want me to sing.
Me neither. No one wants to hear that.
Happy birthday,
no one
Shannon.
ever wants to.
Shannon's our producer. Shannon is your wife.
It's my wife.
Yeah.
Yes. We should probably introduce who the heck we are, huh? Shouldn't we? This is Dan Keller, the mortgage extraordinaire.
And you are awesome. Christian, awesome. Nossum.
It's my legal name.
Mm-hmm.
I should change it.
With awesome Nossum Real Estate.
Well, Wilson Realty.
Wilson Realty.
I brand myself as Awesome Nossum.
AwesomeNossum.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm excited. Yes. This is a holiday week. We got Thanksgiving coming up.
Yeah.
Are you staying around town?
Nope. We're going down to the Portland, Vancouver area. That's where Shannon's family is from. We always go down there.
Nice.
For Thanksgiving. And then we have Christmas up at our house. So
fun.
Everybody comes over to ours. But yeah, Thanksgiving we always go down there.
Fun. At least you don't have to go over a mountain pass.
Yeah, I am always thankful for that.
Yeah.
Shannon, thank you for being born. And thank you
in Vancouver.
In Vancouver. I was going to add that as a second segment there.
Yeah.
Thank you for being born. Thank you for being born in Vancouver.
And not Portland.
And not Portland. I like Portland. It's all right.
Well, we're going to Moses Lake, so we've got to head over the pass. So,
yeah. What's it looking?
Well, I just know it's getting cold.
Yeah.
So let's just keep our fingers crossed. I know the mountains got a ton of snow because the rivers are all flooded. So I think the temps are dropping. So we'll see. I think it'll be fine.
Hopefully you'll have a safe drive.
4-wheel drive, baby.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys take your truck?
We'll take my truck.
How is your truck looking, by the way, since Cammie was in here week with the organizing experts?
I've filled my tank twice since then.
And how many times have you gone through your truck?
Clean, brother.
Whoa!
Clean.
Dan's making improvements in his life.
I'm learning.
You're learning.
I'm a learner. I'm a sponge. I'm always learning. Teach me, master. No. So every time I fill up, I do what she told me to do. And it's not rocket science by any means. Most people actually do it. They take their garbage and they throw it away while they're waiting. But anyhow.
If anybody doesn't know what the heck we're talking about, last week on the show, we had Cammie Listenby from the Organizing Experts. She is essentially the organizing expert.
Yeah, clean freak.
Yeah, exactly. So she knows what she's talking about. We had her go check out Dan's truck. And it needed some help. And she gave him some very simple, manageable tasks that he could take every time he filled up his gas tank to keep his truck clean.
Yeah, throw away your garbage.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So anybody else has issues with a dirty car, a messy car, listen from Cammie or listen to Cammie's
Yeah,
advice.
listen to that show. Go to the Seattle Real Estate Radio. You can listen to it. It was a really valuable
it was huge.
interview.
I think that was one of my favorites. I learned a ton. I was taking notes during that show. And I think today is going to be a 2-part show because we have one of my mentors and he is the man. His name is Bob Wilson, Robert Wilson. He is the owner of Wilson Realty Exchange, which is where I hang my real estate license. And he is I don't even know what to say. I mean, he's an amazing person, first of all. But he's also, when it comes to investing in real estate, I wouldn't listen to anybody else. I mean, when I was searching for a company to work for, I interviewed a bunch of so all the big names, the Windermere's, the John L. Scotts, the Keller Williams, Remax, whatever.
Yeah.
I went to all those offices, and I was looking for someone that could kind of help me become a better investor, not just how to be a real estate agent. And it was, Bob was by far the only person that really talked about any of that stuff. And the more I learned about him, the more I learned that he knows his stuff.
Yeah, well, there's more to for you, and we're going to talk about this in a minute about your why, but there's more to it than just selling real estate.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you first started selling, you were young. How long you been in the industry? What, 13 years? 11 years?
11 years this January 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Youngster.
So I got my license in December of 04. And it took me a while, a few weeks of, maybe it was actually before that. Maybe it was November when I actually passed the test and stuff. But it took me a while to find an office that I wanted to be at.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, we've talked about this numerous times. One of the reasons why we have the show is to bring people in that will help our clients, our listeners, our past clients, our future clients, not just save money and help them make great financial decisions, but teach them and educate them.
That's both of our, that's why we get along so well and why we work together so well. We're all about educating people so that they can be smart about what choices they're making. When you're educated, you don't have regrets. And
well,
it's
there's
not
no risk.
Selling. Well, it's not selling at that point. It's so much easier and it's more fun.
Yeah. Well, you know, and then we talked about this just off the record, you and I did, but we wanted to put together a series to end the year where instead of talking about more educational type stuff, but instead of talking about saving money and maybe doing some things that will protect you and help you save money, to maybe help you make some money in the future. So with Bob, with our next show, you know, following Bob is Hard Money. So more how to do what Bob's talking about.
Exactly.
And then financial planners and CPAs to wrap up the year. So this is a great start to just a killer end of 2015. I'm excited.
I am too. And this is like I said, this is going to be a 2-part show because there is so much to go over.
Well, yeah, and we talked about it a minute ago. Maybe listening to Cammie's interview from a week ago, this is one that you're gonna want to go back and listen again.
You're gonna want to hit the pause button, take some notes.
Well, look, before we get into that, man, why don't you let us know what's going on in the Seattle housing market? This is what I look forward to every single week, and what's going on?
So, one thing that I'm always paying attention to is, you know, I'm always looking at who are the movers and shakers in the whole region. So like Expedia, they're moving from Bellevue over to Elliott Bay to the old Amgen project. They're not doing that move until 2018, so it's still a couple years off. But that news broke this summer. Obviously, Amazon has their gigantic complex in South Lake Union. Yeah. Facebook has a nice office in downtown. They're going to be moving here in about the first half of 2016. They just announced that they're going to move to a office that's twice as big. They can fit 2,000 employees. So they're going to go, I think they're somewhere right now between 500 and 1,000 employees. Wow. And they're moving to a brand new office just off of Westlake. So kind of south of, or not south, well, yeah, kind of southwest of, or southeast, of Queen Anne. Wow. Really close to South Lake Union still. But their office is just insane. I saw a little article talking about it. Frank Gehry, who world famous architect, made the EMP, has done tons of designs across the world. He's the one that's designing their office. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So they're kind of going all out. And they're doing it because they need to recruit. Yeah. They need to recruit the top talent. Yeah. And they're going to have this massive three different tier outdoor rooftop garden open space on their building. Unreal. But just crazy. Well, you and I are working with a couple of clients from Facebook. And when we met them, you and I went and met them each. And I was like, Facebook? In Seattle, I really never knew. This was a month or so ago. Yeah, and one of them actually is a recruiter. I had no idea of their growth in the Puget Sound. It doesn't surprise me with obviously Amazon and a lot of the tech companies. In 2010 when they first came here, guess how many employees they started with? How many? Two. Facebook had 2 employees in 2010 in Seattle when they started. Wow. By the end of 2010, they had 500? Oh, yeah. Okay. I think that's the right number. Wow. It was like. Yeah, and now they're hiring the number one architect to exactly, and it's crazy because everybody is, and by everybody I mean all these huge tech companies which are having a huge presence in Seattle. What they're doing is they're trying to make their company stand out. It's just like anything else. so that they can recruit the top talent. And that's something that we're going to kind of talk about later on. It's, as an investor, you need to pay attention to the path of progress.
Yep.
And that's something that I've always done. That's something Bob taught me. And that's where you really need to just pay attention to what's going on and what's coming up and how you can get in front of the wave of people that are looking to invest.
Well, one of the things with these tech companies, what are they bringing to Seattle? They're bringing millennials. And for our listeners that don't really know what millennials are, it's an age group. It's it's now a demographic, Christian.
It is.
It's these early mid-20s to 30-year-old, a little over 30, 32? Isn't that the cap?
I think it's 34. 34. Like that. I'm technically a millennial.
Yeah, and I think I missed it by a few years.
You missed it by a couple.
I think like a millennial, but no, they're bringing a lot of these millennials. So understanding that mindset, that generation, which is the future of the area. So, and we'll do a show on that. Actually, I just talked to a millennial expert the other day. I was on stage, shared the stage with her down at Sales Mastery, and phenomenal how they're looking at that generation and how that generation thinks compared to Gen X and baby boomers. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that's kind of how, I mean, you and I are, you may not be technically a millennial, but you definitely do act and communicate like one.
And dress.
Yes. You're a little better dresser than I am sometimes, that's for sure. And that's one way that we're connecting with them so well, is that we know how they like to communicate. We connect with them that way. And I think a lot of people in this industry, both on the mortgage and the real estate side, they don't.
Yeah, they don't. You have to understand how they want to be sold and served. But hey, real quick before we go to break, is the market slowing down? Middle in November?
It's no.
You
think it would?
You're slammed. Still, you worked all weekend long again.
Yeah.
So
it's nonstop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And with it being Shannon's birthday yesterday, I let her. The first half of the day, I set up some stuff for her and her friends to hang out.
Nice guy.
I called it Moms, Mimosas, and Massages.
Wow.
So, again, you guys really need to just stick around. Bob Wilson is going to be talking, and you don't want to miss what he's going to tell us.
It's going to be a great show.
It's one of my favorites. I think I'm going to listen to it over and over myself. So, stick around. We'll be right back with Bob Wilson.
Time for more Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts, Christian Nossum and Dan Keller.
All right, hey, we are back with Seattle Real Estate Radio. We have got a fantastic guest today. I'm really excited. Hey, before we bring Bob on, Christian, you're a real estate investor.
I am.
Why? I know you got started fairly young. Why? Why did you invest in real estate? Why do you continue to invest in real estate?
Well, I mean, you got to look at what's your purpose? What's your long-term reason for it? It's not necessarily fun. It's not necessarily easy.
Can be risky. It's risky.
It's risky, and it takes money and effort and time. But if your why is big enough, you can go past all that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So your why...
So my why is basically, I don't want to have to work. I want to work if I want to, because I actually really enjoy my job.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing what I do. It's fun. I like meeting people, helping them, educating them. It's fun. It really is truly fun for me. But I don't want to have to do it.
Yeah.
And that's my why. So I want I want investments that make me money so that I don't have to work.
So passive income.
Essentially passive income.
Real estate.
And if people don't know what that means, basically that is money that is income that you're making and you're not necessarily having to go to work to make it.
Well, I think we can talk about this, but I just helped you refinance one of your properties. And the one that I'm talking about right now is a duplex in U Village.
In the U District.
In the U District.
Well, it's technically in Wallingford, but close enough to UW.
Tell our listeners what your income is after your mortgage is paid with your rents. What's your income on that property?
Wow, putting me on the spot.
Well, I know what it is. I want to. You're gonna.
It's around $2,000.
Yeah.
a month.
That's $2,000 of income that you make a month after your bills are paid on that property. Let's get into our guest. Let's talk about this.
So Bob Wilson, Robert Wilson, I know him as Bob, but his name is Robert Wilson. He is, again, the owner of Wilson Realty Exchange, which is where I am technically legally a real estate broker in the state of Washington. And like I said in the first segment, I kind of did the same thing he did without even knowing it. But he is someone that is where I want to be. He is someone that I look up to in more ways than just real estate and buying real estate, but as a person, he's just a great man. And he's someone that I think people should, honestly, if they choose to follow or have someone that has a mentor, this is the type of person that I would want to emulate, and I think probably other people will as well.
Wow.
And I think in investing in real estate, you really do need to have someone help you, someone guide you in the process. No one does it on their own. Well, and if they do, maybe they're smarter than I am. But it's a lot easier if you have an expert guiding you throughout the process. So my mentor is Bob. And now I get to kind of transfer the knowledge that I've learned from him and pass that along to my clients. And it's fun.
Yeah.
It really is fun. So let me tell you a little bit about Bob. So again, he is the best real estate investor that I've ever met and that I can call a friend. When he talks, I listen and I often take notes, which sounds funny, but it's true. But he came from a background, he's a Montana boy. He was raised in Montana, went to the University of Montana in 1966, was in the Army from 66 to 69. And then his last station, he was last stationed at Fort Lewis. So I don't know if he happened upon the Seattle area or if it was by chance or what, but I'll ask him in a second. And then he right after that he went into real estate in 1969, and he's been investing ever since. And he comes from a family of teachers and railroad people, and being in Montana, being in that, I guess, environment. I mean, actual environment. It's a different lifestyle. It's a different state of mind because you're farming.
Yeah.
And when you're farming, you can't speed things up. And Bob and I talked about this yesterday because we often talk, but we talked about this yesterday. You can't speed up the growth of a crop.
Yeah.
And you have to prep for it.
Yeah.
So anyways, Bob is here. So Bob, thank you very much for being here. I am honored that you chose to spend your time with us. I'm thankful, very grateful and thankful that you're here today.
Well, Christian, I really do appreciate you, Christian the person. And you are a great guy.
Thank you.
Do a wonderful job with your people. I mean, absolutely terrific. I'm totally impressed. You're constantly learning and pushing yourself. You get better and better and better, and I love the passion, and I love the way you study. I love your process. Dan, thank you for having me. Christian, thanks for having me. Shannon, your lovely, lovely wife.
You know,
Special lady.
this guy walks into the studio today, and there's just like
it's a presence.
Seriously,
Yeah,
and I'm just peaceful. It's almost like there's background music, heavenly background music, and I'm not making this. So
the angel wings.
Yeah,
are
seriously,
behind
this
you.
guy he's got this aura around here. But here, this guy
because he knows his stuff.
He knows his
that's
stuff,
why.
but he's just. I like being around this guy.
I know.
I've had a chance, Bob, to talk to you a couple times on the phone over the past few years. You know, obviously, Christian works with him, and I've never met you in real life. But having talked to you on the phone, I've left that conversation going, man, this guy is legit. All ears. You know when you're in the presence of somebody that really just knows their stuff. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you know a lot of people that are kind of big in the country, in the world, in the real estate scene.
Yeah,
and
Bob's one of them. Yeah. So, hey, first off, Bob, I want to say thank you. You're a veteran. And anytime I get to be around a veteran, the first thing I want to say is just thank you so much for your service and thank you for everything you've done.
Well, thank you.
That's what I just learned that about Bob today. So I got to ask you, what got you in 1969? What got you into real estate?
I thought about it and had some advice when I was 13 years old from a longtime friend who has since passed away, that if he had it to do over again, he would go into real estate because he would have something left over. It just stuck with me like glue. It made total sense to me. The residual.
You know what that's called? That's called a why. That's called your purpose. That's big.
Part of it.
Yeah. Wow. At 13, you got that advice. So was that fella, is that Dick? Dick Metzner?
No, that was actually a friend of mine named Bill Strunk.
Okay.
And he's from Great Falls, Montana. And anyway, special friend.
Well, tell me about your mentor. So this is really neat, the situation that we're in right now. Your Christian's mentor. Tell me about yours.
Well, Dan, mine, I knew how I learned, and I knew how I didn't learn. And so I went ahead and got my license in, actually, I think 1968, and I spent really, I think, several months from the fall of 68 till February of 69 interviewing real estate brokers. I wanted somebody, I needed somebody, I knew I needed someone to teach me the business, and I knew how I learned. I couldn't learn from people who didn't know and were just telling me things. I had to have a person who was a doer, grounded, and has done it, and was doing it. And that's how I found Dick.
Okay. So you were looking for an expert. You were looking for someone that actually had been there, done that, and is doing it, that could teach you, rather than someone that's going to hand you a book or a manual and say, here, read this. This is how you do it. Yeah,
exactly.
And that's the same way that I learned personally, and that's why when I found Bob, I knew that I was in good hands.
Well, I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent here.
No way. We never go off on tangents on this show.
But check this out, Christian. Fast forward, let's say 40, 50 years. And I'm asking a guy now that had purpose when he got into real estate. He had great advice. He had purpose. He wanted to find a mentor. Fast forward to let's just even say the early 2000s, where we have all of these real estate agents in the marketplace right now that have zero experience, and they're out selling homes to people, certainly not experts. What are your thoughts on that? Do we even go down that road on the radio?
I don't know exactly what to say, Dan, but it's a lot of people, real estate is just a job.
Yeah.
They just want to do a good job, do a job, and then make a living, and there's really nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That wasn't enough for me.
Yeah.
That's not enough for Christian.
Yeah, I mean, I think you think like an investor, even when you're doing your quote unquote job of being a real estate agent or broker. I mean, you're thinking like an investor the whole time. Is that right?
Well, I think it is correct, and I'm thinking about relationships, long-term relationships. I've been very lucky to have really quality relationships, and it's very, very important to me.
Yeah.
Well, much like real estate and investing in real estate, it's long term, so that makes sense that you would think that way.
Wow. And can you see, Dan, now why I've set up my business the way I do, and why I'm doing what I've been doing? I mean, I don't know. Dan obviously knows me very well, but I think maybe today some of the connections are going to come across why I do what I do.
This is great to see that. I'm seeing a lot of Bob in you, which is certainly not a bad thing. I wish I had a little bit more Bob in me.
Well, I think a lot of people do, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone would be in a better position if they could.
Yeah.
So I mean, thinking like an investor, you're always looking for something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're always looking for something that's a repeatable process, something you can do over and over again, and not have to reinvent the wheel all the time. Is that right, Bob?
It is correct, Christian. I don't want to. I want a repeatable, doable, successful process that works through thick and thin, good times, bad times.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to take a quick break, unfortunately, because we're right in the middle of some good stuff.
We're going to
So
get into nuts and bolts in a minute. Yeah.
Do not go away, because this is some great stuff. Stick around.
You're listening to Seattle Real Estate Radio. We're back with Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts, Christian Nossum and Dan Keller.
All right. Hey, welcome back to Seattle Real Estate Radio. This is Dan Keller. You know, today's segment and the follow-up segment is going to be obviously about real estate, investing in real estate. And we're going to focus more on the process and the plan. I want to so pay close attention to those two keywords. This is about the process of and a plan of action. Okay, but I want to. You closed before we went to commercial. You were talking about thinking more, the mindset, thinking like an investor. Talk a little bit more about that before we get back to Bob.
Yeah, I mean, Bob. So I think that's a better question for an expert. So, explain to me how you think like an investor. Kind of explain that. You probably have to go back a little bit. But
It's maybe a little crazy, but I start at the end and work backwards instead of the beginning and go that direction. I start at where I want things to be, what I want things to look like when I'm finished with what I'm doing. Then I will go about putting the pieces in place that will get me where I want to go.
Yeah, I think it's as easy as that. Isn't that kind of funny how there's probably thousands and thousands and thousands of books and real estate investing programs and all these things out there? And really, what they all boil down to is that. It's so simple, yet it's so complex and hard at the same time.
Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, start with the end in mind and work backwards. Start with the end in mind, and that's exactly what he said. Wow. So what does that look like? So thinking like an investor, what does that look like? What does the end look like?
What was when you started, Bob? What was your end? What was your goal?
Interesting. Well, it wasn't so much of what I wanted as what I didn't want.
Yeah.
And I
what
didn't
was that?
like working for other people. I didn't like beholding to anybody for anything. I wanted the options to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do them. And I had to go about forming my real estate ideas that would get me from what I had when I got out of the Army, which was less than $1,100 or less than $1,200, to where I am.
Yeah. So you went from $1,200 in your bank account or less to today you don't necessarily have to work. You choose to because you still enjoy it, and you've set the pieces in place so that you can. I mean, you put the pieces in place so that your why was taken care of.
I did. I went from the idea to a plan, and I wrote things down.
Yeah. So tell me about your logbook. I mean, that's something that you told me when I first started there. You told me get a logbook, and I didn't listen to you. But tell me about it.
Where's your logbook?
Exactly. Tell me about it, and tell me why I need to get one and why everyone else should have one.
Well, when I started, I always liked to put a monument in place of what my starting point was.
Okay.
And where I am. So I wrote
kind
down
of like a baseline.
It's a baseline.
Yeah.
So how much money did I have? In what form was it? What assets did I have? In what form were they in? And that would be on one side of the page, and then the other side of the book would be my ideas going forward. Or as I progressed through there, I would bought this piece of property with this. I expected it to do this or that, and then so then as the pages started filling up over periods of time, and I could see eventually it was happening. It was happening before, and I made myself keep track of myself every month.
So did you like have a day like the first of the month or something, or was it just more like
it was?
Oh yeah, I need
it's
to
a
do
big
this
effort,
month.
Christian,
Yeah,
because
no,
I
trust
had
me, I
a
know.
lot of excuses why I didn't have to fill it out that month,
Trust
especially
me,
it wasn't
I
a great
haven't
month.
filled it out yet at all, so I can relate to the excuse
But
factor.
it's a pretty important piece to put ourselves on notice
Yeah.
of where we are and where we want to be.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I'm just sitting over here shaking my head, Christian, because I've read, you've been to my office and you've seen the bookshelf of books. I read a ton of books, success books, sales books. Doggone it, every single one of them talks about journaling daily. Every single one of them talks about accountability. This guy's doing all of that. He's successful. He's free. Listening to him, he is what when you turn on the TV at 1 a.m. and there's infomercials about being financially free and all that rubbish. Bob is free. Bob could relocate right now and go anywhere in the world if he wanted to. He's free.
Yeah.
This is
And then I think that's part of what he wanted to do.
Freedom.
Initially. He wanted that freedom.
Well, let me not take all the credit. I also have a wife that I married in 1971 who went along with my program.
And Sue
and
is
was
a pretty
a
amazing woman.
huge partner and friend and the mother of two fabulous
Yep. Your boys.
sons.
Yep. Tell me about your boys.
Well, I've got two sons, Jeff and Josh. Jeff, the older of the two, who's not quite 40, is he's a builder and a developer here in Seattle, and and has done very well, I might add.
Yes, he has.
And my younger son, Josh, is a college professor.
Yeah. He's not a dummy. I can tell you that. Where is he teaching now?
He teaches at the University of Arizona. Arizona. He's a tenured professor down there.
wow. Investors? Are they investors as well?
Josh, my youngest son, put his home on a 15-year mortgage. He's got less than 9 years to go on it.
Wow. Okay.
Risk and sacrifice, and he stuck his neck out.
Yeah.
Listen to old Pop.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's got 9 years left, and he'll be out of jail on that one. And my oldest son has done, he builds mostly apartments and tries to keep as many as he can.
Very nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Practicing what
He's
he
a developer in Seattle, and he doesn't really live in Seattle. If that tells you how well he's doing.
Freedom.
Yeah.
A little bit more freedom. Yep.
So I mean, they listened to their dad, and they had a great mentor again, and it's
And a wonderful mother.
yes, exactly, yes, and it's been how many years now? You guys been married?
I think 44.
44 years. Happy birthday, Shannon. We'll get to 44 and plus. Yeah. So, okay. So, to kind of recap where we've been so far in the program, which this is a very dense show, and that's why we're splitting it up into two.
Yeah.
Kind of the three things, or I don't know, at least two things that where we've been so far is you need to find an expert to guide you. I found Bob. Bob found Dick Metzner. Dick actually had a mentor before that. So you need to. There's a lineage here of people finding experts and then listening to them and following their advice. And I've done that with Bob, and I've done that now with some of my clients as well. And so if you're out there thinking, okay, well, I'm in one of two boats. I'm either at the point where maybe I own my house or I don't quite own my house yet, and I want to get to that end goal. I want to set up my why. I want to set up my plan. How the heck do I do that? What do I do? Yeah. And that's where, obviously, I can come in and help, and Dan as well, and Bob as well.
Well, and what we were talking about earlier, Christian, what's great for our listeners and for everybody that can come back and listen to this, I'm going to send this out to my entire database. This is just huge. Tap into you. By tapping into you, Christian, you get that lineage. I mean, you get Bob, you get Dick, you get his mentor. I mean, holy cow. So, I mean, this is huge. This is huge.
It is. And it's, So basically, first step is find an expert to guide you. Then you can figure out the whole money thing. How do I actually purchase it? All that stuff. That stuff you're going to figure out. And that's something that Bob's always preached to me, is you'll figure out a way to make that work. And you don't have to have a lot of money. Bob had less than $1,200 when he started. I had almost the exact same amount. I had like $1,500 in my pocket, and I bought a $500,000 house that when I moved into it, I made $200 a month. After paying all the mortgage and everything.
And well, and if you don't know where to go, I have a feeling guys like you and Bob can direct you into which direction you need to go.
I think what it is that we figure out what to buy. When you have a plan, when you know what you want, you see opportunities that others don't see, that they're going to walk over all day long. And is that, correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, is that right? I mean, when you have a plan, it's easier to find these deals.
It's easier to keep us in focus.
That's a good way to put it.
Because it's really easy to get
off.
It's really easy for the tumblers to get misaligned. And us in our teaching and moving people forward and helping them improve their lives. Money isn't everything, but it ain't nothing either.
No, it's true. So true.
So I got a question. If you're listening, if you wanted to start, what's the first start? Or what's the first place to start if you want to invest in real estate?
Complicated question. Good question, though, Dan. The first place to start, I think, is seek out somebody who is going on the same journey that you want to go on, that has learned, studied, has passion, curiosity, interest, an enormous work ethic, and has a sense of value. It's something you can't teach.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, and that's it's big. I mean, you need, and then once you find that person, then they can help you come up with the plan. They can help you come up with the process of how to do it. So we got to take a break, unfortunately. So stick around.
Time for more Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts, Christian Nossum and Dan Keller.
All right, so hey, welcome back to Seattle Real Estate Radio. This is Dan Keller, and up until now, we've spent a lot of time talking about the process, okay? It's time to get tactical, and this is where, if you're listening, I hope you've enjoyed the segment so far, but if you're listening, this is where you're going to, not necessarily in the car, but go back and replay this, and this is where you're going to want to take some notes. So here's the takeaways up to this point. The 3 takeaways up to this point are, 1, have a plan, okay? Have a plan. Stick to that plan. Number 2, track your progress. Okay, have a plan, track your progress. And 3, keep yourself accountable. Keep yourself accountable by the journal. Take notes, dubious notes, okay? So let's get tactical. I've got a client, Christian, okay? And I recommend a client to go in and talk to you. They want to get into real estate investing. I say, I've got the guy that you need to talk to. What does that look like? I've introduced you. Take it from here.
So you're saying that you have a client that wants to be an investor, that wants to set up their plan. They don't know where to start.
They don't know where to start.
You send them to me.
I send them to you.
What do I do?
Where do you take it?
'Kay.
What do you do from now?
So first, we got to meet face to face. I mean, that's the big one. And it's not going to take one meeting, but we're going to meet face to face. And some of the info that I'm trying to get out of them that I've learned from my mentor, what he's gotten out of me and all the people that he's helped along the years or over the years, is it's a lot of info gathering that goes on. I'm trying to learn about them. I'm trying to learn about their mindset. I'm trying to learn about what they're thinking, where they want to be, where they think they want to be. And then a lot of times you got to dig in a little more to really figure out if that's actually what they want.
Yeah.
Because people think that they want something, but they don't. They actually want something else.
Well,
so it's helping them realize and understand what it is their actual goal is.
Okay.
So after I do that, well, not even after that. I mean, I want to learn their process. I want to know what they consider short term. I want to know what they consider long term. I want to know what they consider to be a good passive income goal. I want to know I don't know what their why is.
Well, you've got to help them build their plan too. And we were talking over the break with Bob, and Bob's still here with us. We're going to get him in a minute.
Yeah.
But everybody's plan isn't the same. It's not plug and play. You don't read a book, come in and meet with Christian and Bob, and a year later you're a millionaire.
No.
It doesn't work that way. And
Not at all.
if you've been listening to the show, you can see how slow and deliberate Bob is in everything that he does. And obviously...
And I think that's because of how he was raised. The Montana boy, it's a different way of life there. And I think that way of life fits perfectly into real estate and how real estate investing works. And it's not a get rich quick thing. It's
a process.
It's a process.
So you're going to sit down with the client and you're going to really go deep and really put together that action plan. It doesn't happen necessarily in one meeting. I know Bob was saying over the break, it could take up to 3 to 5 meetings before even more. Okay. So you're there. What's next?
So, I mean, Bob, what do you think? What do we do after that? What do we normally do?
I always make sure that I'm trying to keep my purpose clear in my mind. And that is, everybody's a little different. How they think about things, how they go about things is different. How they go about their buying process in general. Remember, Christian and Dan, think of how much stuff we buy compared to how much stuff we sell. It's dramatically disproportionate. So when we buy things, we've got to look at, can we go out the back door with them? Where's the fire escape? What is your risk tolerance factor? So we've got to sort of adjust things because there's a different risk factor. People start with different amounts of money, different amounts of earning capacity, and there's usually more than one person involved in it. Maybe the wife. Maybe she doesn't have the same risk tolerance as the husband or vice versa.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, once we do figure out that plan, what I would do with your theoretical introduction to me is once we go through all that stuff, then we figure out, all right, well, what's a good deal for you based on your plan? Is that finding a home that's in the path of progress, which I'll explain what that is real quick. So path of progress, I kind of talked about it in my real estate minute at the beginning of the show, talking about Facebook. So I know for me personally, I used that path of progress since Bob taught it to me. Early on, one property that I bought was by near the light rail station on North Beacon Hill, which is an underground station, unlike a lot of the ones in the south, or south of that on the light rail line. So you don't have the noise issue. And basically, I was looking for, okay, well, where is the light rail going? Where is a good deal along that path? Is owning a property near this going to increase its value faster than owning it somewhere else? What are rents going to do because of this? And all these things, everything that I was learning about the path of progress and how to look for it, they all played out really well.
And this, again, I'm sitting over here, Christian, going, this is why you want to work with a professional. This is why you want to interview agents. This is, if you're investing in real estate, just like Bob said, find somebody that you can follow after, because that's crucial information. I've never really thought that deep into why I would buy or sell.
It's even more than that.
Wow.
And that's just a subtopic of
one of the
exactly.
It's one of the criteria that you go over.
Exactly. And then once you have a property, then you go, okay, well, how do I maximize the rents? How do I maximize the value? Not just the rents, but the value of the property. One other thing from that is then you go, okay, well, how can I reduce my costs? How can I minimize how much I have to pay out every single month to make this work?
So to summarize that, how you really understand if this is a good investment or not, what are the 3 criteria? Again, if you're taking notes, how do you determine if this is a good investment? 1,
is it in the path of progress?
Path of progress. 2,
you want to buy in that path of progress. 2, what kind of rents do they have now? Could you increase those to the point where it makes more sense? Because maybe it doesn't right now. But could you do things where maybe you add a couple more bedrooms to the house that now you have a 5-bedroom instead of a 3-bed?
Okay.
And then
3
is minimize your costs and make sure that you're buying a place that has a minimal risk.
Okay.
So you got to be smart. I mean, you got to know what you're doing.
Okay.
Is that right, Bob? I mean, is that kind of? I'm sure
really,
there's way
really
more than
is,
that too.
Christian and Dan, it really is right. But there's what we have to do is look at people, and if they don't have pieces in place, then we have to now we have to find the pieces to put in place. And then for those that are a little more, let's just say a little older, and a little more mature in their investing, we have to constantly look at moving those pieces and repositioning.
Yeah,
exactly. Because I know a lot of my clients, they'll come to me where maybe before they were married, he and her each own their own place. And now those don't necessarily make sense because they kept them both. And this is exactly what we're going to talk about next week on the show. Yeah. And it's going to be, I mean, this is another whole show's worth of information.
You know, Christian, here's the thing. I can see Bob struggling over here with our hypothetical scenarios because Bob wants the details. He wants to see the physical person, their financials, their goals. And I know it's hard for you to kind of give examples off of a hypothetical because it's not that simple. I totally get that, and I want our listeners to see that Bob's not here going, and I totally respect this guy for that because see, he could easily come in and go, do this, 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 boom, you're going to make this. Well, and it's not that easy.
It's not. And also, he knows after doing this for 40-plus years, he knows that that's not how it works.
No.
So one thing that I want to let everybody know about is if you are in a position where you are thinking that this would be a good spot for you to learn, where you need to invest, you need to do this, Bob and I are going to potentially offer a class, but we need to get a feel for if there's enough desire for it. So if you are interested in potentially hearing, this is going to be a free class. If you want to hear this, if you want to know more, email me, Christian@awesomenossum.com. That's CHRISTIAN at awesome, AWESOMENOSSUM.com. You can Google my name. You'll find me on the first result. Email me. Tell me that you're interested. And if we have enough interest, we will definitely do this again. So that is unfortunately it for this week's show. Stay tuned for next week's. We're going to have Bob on again. We're just going to keep going with this. Thank you so much for listening and stick around.
Wow.